Jason in New Jersey. What's up, Jason?
Hey, Mike, I just want to say a couple things.
Yes.
First of all, me and my wife were both attorneys. We're in our early 30s.
Right.
We finished school. We came out of debt, about $250,000
Yes.
for both of us. We pay around $1,600 a month towards the student
Absolutely.
loan. The kids in college are getting full rides.
Yep.
They're getting about $50,000 a year.
Yep.
So if you finish school, that's about $200,000 plus the meal plans plus all that.
Right.
I'm tired of seeing these guys like Stephen A. Smith and these people on TV saying that they're being exploited, they're not getting anything. They're finishing school without any student loan debt. And then there's an excuse, well, the school should be paying the guy's mother's bills. Well, take out student loans and pay your bills yourself. I mean, everybody else who goes to college who can't make it financially,
I'm going to be
take out student loans and they pay their bills.
All right, well, I'm going to be I'm going to give you the real world here, okay? Number one, everything you said is fine, except here's the difference. You don't produce, when you go to college, you're there for you. You don't produce millions upon millions of dollars in revenue for the school. That kid does. That kid's why that school has an SEC contract that's to the moon. That's why that kid has got a school that has 85,000 people sitting in the stadium on Saturday screaming like crazy, okay? Now, that kid's important for the school for a lot of reasons. Plus, the guy who likes going there and watching his team win might be someone who donates a library to the school, too. So the point is, that kid, when there's billions being made on his back, and he's still the product. He is the product. He is the product. And he's in the pros now, they understand that the players are the product. They've come to that conclusion, and the owners are now partners with the players. That's how it works.
But Mike, they are getting money.
They are not being, but still, you cannot create a system where there is billions upon millions, and in the case of the NCAA tournament, billions being produced, and you can't tell me these kids can't tap into an emergency fund so that the Ole Miss coach doesn't have to break a rule when he gives the kid $300 to turn his mother's lights back on.
Right,
so to me, and that's where I think that system is wrong. Now, I understand you're upset.
Because they make money, they
but you know what? Well, no, not because they make money, because they produce something tangible.
Money for the school.
They do, yes, they do. They produce big money for the school. And you know what? You don't produce anything for the school.
Yeah, but for all students, but they are getting around 50,000
right,
plus.
But it's not enough.
They are getting money.
It's not enough.
The arguments are being made like they're being exploited.
They are being exploited.
But Mike, they're getting a free ride, a free education,
right,
which is a couple $100,000.
No question, absolutely. But the schools are getting off cheap.
But you got to go per athlete. You figure all of those rides that they give. It's not in just football, basketball. It's a lot. No.
Listen, separate football and basketball, because the schools, the ones they're getting scholarships for that don't produce revenue, that's between the school and the players. They don't produce any revenue. I'm not bringing the soccer player into this, or the baseball player into this, or the lacrosse player into this. Where they get scholarships, they're getting it out of the goodness of the school's heart, okay? They're not producing any revenue. They're not producing anything. So I'm not talking about them, all right? I'm not talking about them. And a lot of them aren't getting full rides anyway. They're getting partial rides, whatever. We're talking about the football players at a major school like Ole Miss. They are getting treated very well. They're getting fed. They're getting treated very well. But my point is, why have a corrupt system where you know the player's going to get the money anyway? Why not have emergency funds available? And I'm not for paying players outright. Why not have a system where they can go and touch the money, where there is an emergency fund available to players?
You're completely creating a system unfair to. You're doing it based on production. Well,
they're not normal students, but remember, they're not normal students. You know what? They aren't. The bottom line is they are.
Because you have God gifted. Because you have God.
That's right. But that's how the world works.
Are greater than other people, then you shouldn't have to take out a student.
Well, listen, but that's the way the world works.
And you get probably around over $200,000.
Right, but again, here's the thing: someone will say that.
But they're not being exploited.
Yes, but no. Yes, I disagree. I totally disagree. The money being made now. But who decides? But why should you decide what the cap is on their productivity? Why do you get to decide? Because you have to pay to go to a school. Why? And you're upset about that. Why should you be the one who decides what their productivity, what their cap should be on their productivity?
I'm not saying the cap, Mike, but what I'm saying.
Well, you are saying a cap. You're saying 50,000 is enough.
No, there's a difference between being exploited and not making enough. The arguments being made as if they're not getting anything.
No, listen, they are getting something, but they should be getting more because the amount of money now being produced, the amount, and listen, they've already gone to court and won this because the NCAA, the colleges are making money on games, on players' names, and the players don't get anything. They don't have anything to do with it. They get nothing out of it. Nothing.
Well, they do. They have a free education, Mike. That's something.
Yeah, but you've decided that's enough. But who are you to decide that's enough? Why don't they get to negotiate that like everybody else does?
Because
why? I'm listening.
Go to school for a negotiation.
Why not?
Go to school for an education.
No, they don't. They go to school. Those guys don't. Those guys go there to play a sport.
But they're saying they're offered to go to school for free. They're being offered. You could come to our school for free.
You've decided. Well, wait a second. Why should you have a say in what the relationship is between you and that school?
Mike, they're accepting an offer.
Wait a second. The offer is unfair. They've taken it to court. It's already been ruled unfair. It's already been ruled. This is going to change. There's no question about it. The question is how they attack how it changes. It is going to change. All right? There's no way around it. It is because the money has gotten so extreme for the universities, it is going to change. But you see, you're angry because you have student loans, and I understand that, and that's fine. You know what? But here's the thing: you chose to go. You didn't have to go to that school. You could have gone. You could have gone to a different school. You didn't have to go there and take out those loans. Nobody made you take those loans out.
If you go to the school and you agree that you're going to.
Well, wait a second. But why is your plight? But wait a second. Why is your plight? Why is your plight something that should be sympathetic? You didn't have to go to that school.
Yeah, but Mike, I didn't come from money either.
Wait a second. But wait a second. But why don't? Why? Wait a second. Why did you? You didn't have to take those loans out to get a college education.
Of course they did.
No, you didn't. To go to that school, you did. Well, wait a second. Why couldn't you go to a school that costs less money?
No, I actually went to school. I went to Michigan State University.
No, why couldn't you? We're saying why couldn't you go to a school where you didn't have to take loans out?
Because the schools that I got into.
Oh, wait a second. You chose to do that, and you have every right to choose, but you don't get to complain. Okay? You don't get to complain. You could have gone to a state university that didn't cost a lot of money. You didn't have. Listen, I'm not saying you came from money. I didn't come from anything. I'm not talking about that. But if you choose to put the loans on your back, that's your business. That you chose to do that. You don't have to do that. You could have gone to a junior college for 2 years, transferred in, and saved half your money that way. There's ways around it. What I'm saying is you chose to do it your way, which is your right, and you should be completely commended for it. But don't complain about it then. And don't compare it to this kid's situation. This kid, you don't have the right to, nor do I have the right to negotiate what that kid should get out of that school. He is bringing something to the dance there. And those laws are going to change. And those rules are going to change. Why? Because the money has gotten so extreme now. And the amount of money these schools are making now is so extreme in terms of the television products and everything else in this new world and this new sports world economy that they are going to come up with something that's going to work. And I want them to come up with a system where the players don't get paid per se, because if they do, there'll be more corruption. I have a different system in mind. But the point is there should be emergency money available to these players so that there doesn't have to be rules broken to do what's reasonable and right. That's my point. But as far as you being jealous of them, I understand. But you didn't have to put, no one told you that you had to put those bills on your back because you didn't have to go to that school. You could have taken a more economical way to go to school, is what I'm saying. But once you put the bills on your back, which is admirable, and I'm not saying, see, like right now, people say, well, college should be free in America. I don't believe that. Why should I pay for someone else's college with my tax money? I don't believe college should be free. Now, if you want to have state universities, I'm all for it. If you want to have a few free universities, fine. Do I think all college should be free? Absolutely not. You don't have to go to those universities. So if you choose to go to them, that's your prerogative. I think that's fine. But You put the bills on your back. You put them on your back. You didn't have to put them on your back. No one made you do it. So that's your choice. But these kids, my point is, these schools are making so much money, this money should be negotiated. And I think it will be negotiated. And it's just common sense. There's never any common sense. Now there's an inquiry into why this kid was given $300. He was given $300 because they turned off his mother's lights. Somebody was going to come up with that money for him.